Hi, this is Keenan Bishop from DistinctStrength.com. And if you're watching this video today, it's probably because you see people all the time on social media front squatting with different techniques. Or maybe because you know how to front squat, but you have an injury or lack the mobility to front squat properly. Well, today I'm going to go over the different ways on how to front squat and go over the pros and cons of each way. Now let's get into the different ways that you can hold the bar in a front rack position. So you have a traditional front rack, which you see mostly Olympic lifters and CrossFit athletes using, which looks a little something like this. I'll get a bar in a second. The next one that's very popular, mostly amongst bodybuilders, is going to be crossing your arms over, having the bar sit right on top of your collarbone there. And the last one is, I'll go get my straps later, but you'll have straps that are hooked onto the barbell, and you'll hold it here. So next I'll go into all the pros and cons of each, and then you can use that to decide which one is best for you. Alright, so traditional front rack. So you're going to want your hands to be just outside of your shoulders, and ideally you have a full grip on the bar. Now this gets into a later point about wrist mobility, but if your wrists are not mobile enough, it's going to be pretty much impossible to get your elbows into a good position with having a full grip. So you can take out one finger at a time. Some people even use one finger to be able to get your elbows where they need to be. Alright? So the pros of this is, it's, in my opinion, the strongest position in a front squat. But which leads to a con. If you don't have the wrist mobility, it can be very uncomfortable or borderline impossible to maintain this position. Again, you'll see this mostly with CrossFitters and Olympic weightlifters, just because there's no way to transition into the other lifts that in that sport without using this grip. The next grip that you can use is just crossing your hands over each other and using your fingertips to make sure the bar stays in a good position. Now this is very popular with bodybuilders, mainly because they don't really have the time or really want to work on the wrist mobility for the other front rack position. A con of this is it's not very good looking. You might get made fun of with this, but you know, who really cares at the end of the day, as long as you're putting up big weight. Another con of this is it tends, at least for me, to put a lot of stress on biceps, because when you get a heavy weight and you end up tipping forward, which is inevitably will happen at some point, you're going to compensate with your biceps to keep this weight up against your chest. So I've really put a lot of strain on my biceps trying to use this grip before, so that's something to consider. Alright, last but not least, we have straps. So straps is probably the best way to do it if you have bad wrist mobility or you had a wrist injury in the past. So with a strap, you literally just give one loop around, boom, you're right there, your wrists stay neutral the whole time. The con is this can't transfer into any other lift, such as a push press or a jerk or anything like that. So you're strictly going to have to do squats. But if you don't care about stuff like that, and if you have bad wrists, you're probably not doing that sort of lifting anyway. This is a great way to do it. So to set up, you'll just need deadlift straps. You just go over, you loop through, you tighten up, get a good grip, go one loop, and then you're in your front rack position.